Okay, so moving on to fight 1 versus BROLY. I wanted to save the harder one for second. This is the harder of the two fights, in my opinion. This is the Dragon Ball Super Memorial Battles fight against BROLY. The Super Movie Memorial, whatever you want to call it, right? This is what we are looking at so far. So we just did the video for Gogeta, and now we're going to be doing the video for BROLY. Now, when it comes to BROLY, the missions are the same exact thing as part 1. We have, or phase 1, so battle 2, but the first video. So the first stage is you have to do it, just beat it. The second mission is without an item, and then the third mission is using one of all typings. So that is what we are doing in this video, covering all the birds with one stone, and we are going to kind of move in. So against BROLY, what we are looking at here is, it's an interesting fight. I think this is pretty tough, man. We have, let's see. I'm just moving up. So BROLY Wrathful in the first phase, we have 41.8 million HP, 360,000 attack, 270,000 defense, with 60% damage reduction, 8 attacks per turn, with a super that is a melee-based super that hits for 1,008,000, 17% chance to go off with a 1 per turn, and an 8 cooldown. So what this guy has, the first phase, the phases and the enemy effects are extremely similar to what Gogeta's were, where we have no ability to lower attack, but we can lower defense, and then they can't be stunned or sealed throughout the whole portion of the event, as is the usual with some of the harder fights in this game. That is just how they do it these days. So this phase versus BROLY, we are basically just copying and pasting the team that we used last video against Gogeta, if you watched that one. But the big difference here is that we are using Gogeta Blue instead of, what is it called, Gamma 1, and then we took out Ultimate Gohan and put God Goku in there, as this is a movie boss and a Pure Saiyan, all the way up until the end, where BROLY is no longer a Pure Saiyan, but yeah, but he is a movie boss, as it is BROLY, Cheelai, and Lemmo. So phase 3 is kind of the big boy of this specific event. Now, why I say that is just because of all the things that the full power BROLY is doing. BROLY, Cheelai, and Lemmo have higher numbers, but the typing kind of works out. Maybe not a little better, but it is just kind of just not as bad, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. So first phase, kind of just, you know, the normal, what you're expecting from this. But these are very, very similar, kind of like copied and pasted fights with different enemies, and then BROLY just has the different effect because of the domain that he has. I guess like it's the boss domain, if you will. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. The first phase of this shouldn't be too bad, but just like the last video, if you guys watched that one, this is this is a long fight, right? Like, it's like a 20-minute recording. So anytime you know that I did like a 20 to 30-minute recording, it's just a long fight, right? Because this superhero team does a lot of damage, and that's just kind of the way it goes at this point. So that's what you should expect in this video. Orange Piccolo, you guys know the drill. We just skim through that. Unless we're doing live commentary, we just always blitz through the Orange Piccolo portion. And obviously, if we're using 2 of him, you don't get to take it home with you, so we're going to use both of them in this video. So the first run, just kind of talking about it, everything was going good until Gogeta post-super took like 900,000 from the BROLY. So just keep that in mind, that BROLY, the full power BROLY hits very, very hard, and it's going to be a little bit to get around that. And then the last phase of the BROLY, Cheelai, Lemmo disables attack, evasion, so stuff like that, and you are forced. Even the taunt from Gogeta is pointless. You will see I do it in this video, and it ultimately does nothing, and we get lucky without a super, and we get the no item run. So unless this becomes the new showcase fight, I don't see myself coming back to these specific fights unless there's like, you know, unique missions and stuff like that. But that is kind of how it goes. So looking at the team, I didn't break it down all the way. We have double Orange Piccolo. You guys know everything that Orange Piccolo does at this point, I hope, with the ability to take away the enemy super. So important for difficult content these days, because that's where the difficulty really comes from. We have Trunks and Vegeta for the defensive stacking, their guard, and they are also a proc for the Future Saga buff that we need for the AGL Vegito Blue unit. Orange Piccolo, like I said, we have Gogeta Blue, who does his thing. You guys know Gogeta Blue is just a powerhouse of offense. The defense leaves a little bit to be desired, unfortunately, but still a very solid unit, and the damage he is putting out, as well as the taunt mechanic that he has, is defensive utility in its own. So it's just not your traditional defensive unit, I would say. Then we have God Goku, just a brick wall. You guys know how God Goku works at this point. If it's a Pure Saiyan or a movie boss, he is a must-run defensively. You just really can't go wrong with that unit. It's very hard to pierce through his damage reduction. So you guys know how that goes. Now, what it says here, and again, I don't remember how this worked in practice, but this Super Saiyan BROLY, it says disables attack and defensive reduction. So we'll see. We'll see in the run. I guess him having type advantage does help as well. But we're on to the Super Saiyan BROLY, and then AGL Vegito, you guys know, has guard. And then when we do get to the the Vegito portion, he is just a really good partner to have with physical Gogeta Blue for the guaranteed dodging that he does on his active skill turn, as well as just these sheer amount of supers that he is putting out. So Super Saiyan Broly has 54 million HP, 420,000 attack, 300,000 defense with 62% damage reduction and 8 attacks per turn. He has a 30% chance to super with 2 per turn and a 4 cooldown. So very similar to what AGL Gogeta Blue or STR Super Saiyan Gogeta was doing in the first fight. He greatly raises his attack for 1 turn on super attack and does that twice, so that can be a bit annoying. That's a 50% raise. Then he also cannot have his attack or defense lowered, he can't be stunned, and he can't be sealed. The typical stone wall type of boss where you can't really debuff them and you just have to kind of use your own guard and defensive numbers to outlast him, if you will. So that is kind of the deal with the Super Saiyan Broly. I don't remember why I floated Gogeta Blue off on this specific. I think if I had to guess, it would have had to have been something like this, just protecting AGL Vegito Blue. You know, the base form, I'm not going to sit here and tell you is like the best unit in the game, right? There's obviously flaws with the AGL Vegito, but they fulfill their role well, and they are here to fulfill a typing role. So they're the AGL unit. It doesn't really get much better on the AGL portion of Superhero than that unit, so it does force us to kind of bring Trunks and Vegeta, unfortunately, but sort of just the way it worked out. Now, STR Gogeta Blue, you guys know why we put him slot 1 right here, and we can also hide Vegeta and Trunks at the same time. So that was a very productive turn in terms of where the enemy is going to do things. So it's like, if you want to go ahead and double super Gogeta, you can go ahead and do that, Broly. That is fine. But I don't believe he does that. I believe he does work forward and do a super on God Goku. But God Goku has his damage reduction in this portion because it just can't be lowered, right? So that is, or can't be removed like it says this full power Broly can do. So seems like these disable damage reduction bosses are very gimmicky, but nonetheless, we move. I have to see how God Goku tanks in that portion to kind of see what he's doing, right? Because obviously we get the no item run here, so I'm not too worried about it. So it doesn't really make the biggest difference in terms of like being able to complete it or not, especially with a no item run. If you're able to no item run him with God Goku on the team, he's absolutely fine. This super shouldn't do too much, if I'm not mistaken, because we do have the damage reduction, but it is type advantage, so it could potentially kind of pierce through a little bit. Yeah, 169,000. That's a lot for God Goku, because, you know, typically he's a unit that's gonna, like, you know, like I said, stonewall the boss from really being able to do damage. But in that case, that was not what we saw. So I think we have like 1 or 2 more turns against this Int Broly. Yeah, we still have a bit to go. We have at least 1 more turn against Int Broly, and I believe on this turn we were able to fuse into Vegito, so yeah, obviously getting Vegito Blue is always fun. We don't have active skills on and stuff like that, so just kind of have to work through that, but nonetheless, we should save this active skill. I don't really see any point to use it right now, and if I do use it, it is just to play defense, so yeah, we are just playing defensive against this Broly. I guess at this point I didn't know the boss's stats, so I'm like, you know what, let's just take the guaranteed dodge right here, play it safe, and move on to the next turn, because we're not really going to need it going forward. But I guess that was the thought process that I had there in that specific moment. I don't know if I would have done that twice. I probably would have saved that, to be honest, but again, I wanted to just play safe with the type disadvantage on Piccolo. I was like, Piccolo getting a super might not be good. Let's just play it safe here and make sure that we live to fight another day with Gogeta. We did the active skill in slot 2, so he's going to be looking pretty good at this turn, doing a bunch of supers in slot 1, which is obviously what we are looking to get out of this Vegito. So he does that, 3.3 there, not bad. He should be able to finish the job here with all these supers, and then on the next turn we're going to go to Gogeta Blue and stuff like that, and we're going to have a good time, a jolly old time, if you will. So it ends up working out pretty well, 2.3, and then 1 more super here from Gogeta, or Vegito, excuse me, and we are ready to go. All right, come on, finish him off for me, my boy. Okay, so now that we're moving into the last phase, let's talk about Super Saiyan Broly Full Power. Now, there's a lot here. 69 million HP, nice. 600,000 attack, 400,000 defense, 65% damage reduction with 9 attack per turn. We have causes immense damage and lowers defense by 40% for 1 turn. We have like that, whatever the purple form of super attack is, that's like the little sphere on Dokkan info. 1.68 million HP, or damage on the super, with a 14% chance to do it, and then 1 per turn with a 9 cooldown. Now, what makes this boss different, obviously you guys can see the icons on the top right. Disables defensive reduction, grants immunity to being stunned, can't be sealed, can't have his attack lowered, can't have his defense lowered. And right here it says disables attack and defensive reduction, and he also disables attack and defense down removed. So that is interesting as well. But you guys can see Broly did just, or God Goku did fine right there. So I'm not sure what the attack and defensive reduction is. I guess it's maybe like reduced against the, I'm not sure, because I guess we'll see how this super turns out, right? So this super hits for 69,000. That doesn't really feel like that much, considering it's hitting for like almost 1.7 mil. I just don't feel like it's that much. So not too sure what the deal with this Broly is, but they're saying this fight is tough. So The first phase I know for a fact is tough, or this Broly phase is tough, because Gogeta Blue in my first run in this exact scenario, after doing all his supers and stuff like that, still took 930k from a super. So obviously not good, but offensively, you know, his output is always going to be as impressive as ever, and you just have to kind of move on from there. Now, looking at this phase, I can see where this is going to be tough if you want to run like an STR focus setup, because this guy's just doing so much. And then right here with Gogeta Blue, 14 million, his whole deal is that he'll be fine because we do have the dodging in slot 3 and the super effective against all types and all the damage that he's going to be putting out. He'll be just fine. I'm not worried about Gogeta Blue one bit in slot 3, because this isn't the phase where your damage reduction is disabled, so or your dodge is disabled, so not worried about him. And then when he does take a normal, it's for 100k, so obviously does end up hitting pretty hard. But right here we do ultimately go with the orange mode, so you guys know the drill at this point. Let's make sure we swipe up so you guys know we're not missing anything, and then we're gonna just speed through this quickly. Boom, bam, bop. Yep, you get the idea. You get the idea. Boom, 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 boom. And I believe after this we are out. Yep, so there we go. Still obviously in the same run with the same turn and stuff like that. Using Gogeta Blue, or Vegito Blue right here, I'm expecting him to finish off the job, especially considering he's at 24 key. He'll give defensive support if for some reason he wouldn't get the kill, but I'm not really worried about him at this point. Orange Piccolo doing his thing. If he would have had a super, he would have been fine, but we did prioritize Vegito Blue's key. And also, I just think the orb ended up, or the field ended up playing pretty bad on that turn. So obviously not the best situation, but nonetheless, we do get it done. So boom, and now Vegito Blue is up to bat. You can go ahead and finish the job for us there, my friend. So there we go. This is how this phase goes. Orange Piccolo. You can see we didn't need Orange Piccolo to get through it. Maybe this turn we did, but the phase before it, you guys saw that we didn't have a super disabler or anything like that, and we had to kind of work through it normally, and ultimately it wasn't too bad. So maybe I just had a really lucky run for this no item run and all typings mission, but again, I would take off some of the units on this team, like Trunks and Vegeta would probably go, but now we are on to the Broly trio. So with the Broly trio, do we go orange right here? I'd have to see. I know we end up doing the taunt. So yeah, we don't use orange right here because I do the taunt, and obviously this is dumb because this Broly, Chile, and Lemma disabled dodge, but I didn't know that when I was doing the run. So obviously now we're putting ourselves in a spot if a super does come through. But 70 million HP, 510,000 attack, 350,000 defense, 65% damage reduction with 10 attacks per turn, mega colossal damage, and a purple sphere type a combination super attack again. 1.78 million on the super with 14% chance to proc, 1 per turn, and a 10 cooldown. They disable attack and defensive lowering. They disable stunning. They disable sealing, and they also disable your ability to dodge. So disabling dodge, especially with the taunt from somebody like Gogeta Blue, is going to be very annoying. But Gogeta Blue is tanking these pretty well, and now we're up to 13.8 million on the taunt turn. The defense is going to be all right, but I do believe if we take a super, we are in trouble either way. I would have to see, because I don't know. I don't think it's one of those I guess we'll never know situations, because I don't believe Broly, Chile, and Lemmo end up doing a super attack in this this specific run here. So basically at this point, it's just kind of cruise control, because now we have forgone the orange for basically the rest of the fight, if I'm not mistaken. And if we do it again, you guys know we will do the same thing as usual. But moving through this, I think that this Broly full power phase with different teams and other things like that, that's where things would really get interesting, because in this run, we just kind of shield our way through it with Orange Piccolo. We use God Goku as a slot 1 kind of mask and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to see how this Broly and hits like on a team that isn't superhero, because superhero is just kind of like this is my no item run team, right? I don't like to use this team always for like everything that I'm doing, but in this case, it just works out very nicely. So this is where Gogeta Blue, I believe Gogeta Blue finishes the job here, but there we go with Orange Piccolo. We're going to get the 18 key. His defense is fine. Vegito Blue's getting his 24 key, and obviously with Gogeta Blue, we would also get the same idea, because, the 2 key support, obviously very nice from Orange Piccolo. That is one of his other underrated utilities, is just the ability to give key, so it kind of helps out with the orbs. Dokkan attack mode goes really slow here for some reason. I'm just like, okay, I'm not a kindergartner, I can handle it. But 9 million on the Dokkan attack, obviously not the best in the world, but that was our slot 1 unit there. And now that we know that Gogeta Blue cannot dodge, him being in slot 3 is the safe spot for him over on the right, and then he'll be able to do some decent damage if we end up getting to his portion, just because his attack stat at this point is going to be more than enough. So, not too bad of a last phase. I would say the full power Broly phase is kind of the one that's the big boy, and then when you get out of this one, the numbers don't indicate it's a cooldown, but it feels like one, right? Where it's like, okay, I got out of the domain mode that Broly had us in, and now I can kind of move on to just like a regular hard boss in this game. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I could be wrong on that. I've been known to be wrong in my day. But 4.1 mil right there from Vegito Blue, not bad. The way it's looking with Vegito's damage, I don't see any world where Gogeta Blue doesn't come in and finish this off. So I believe Gogeta Blue should probably get the final blow here, because we just, Vegito Blue just does so many supers, so it takes a minute to get through all of them. And then Gogeta Blue is probably going to rip off, like, an 11, 12 million attack stat and just finish it off from here. Because he's type advantage at this point, so he's looking good. With the crit, he's really going to be in his element. So Vegito Blue, again, if you can get him out, he is just a beast. But it's just that base form just turns so many people off, and it's a shame, because this unit's a lot of fun. 3.2 mil right there, not bad. And Gogeta Blue is going to go ahead and rip off a 14 million attack stat for us there. Pretty good with type advantage over BROLY, Chilai, and Lemmo, and we should have no trouble finishing this off, especially if he does 1 or 2 more supers. So there we go. No item run for the BROLY event. That's all the missions. So in total, the 18 stones for both of the events, or both of the missions for this event. I'm expecting an addition to this stage with Superhero, hopefully with Superhero for part 2, but again, not a guarantee. I'm not going to put that out there, because obviously I don't know. So let me know down below what you guys think. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you are new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the Dokkan posts, content that I post. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.